Okay, I got the red smoke.
Gun runs north to south, west of the smoke, west of the smoke.
Okay, copy. West of the smoke. I'm looking at danger close now.
Come on with it, baby. Give it to me. I need it. You're cleared hot.
Copy, cleared hot.
Good.
Good. See how the light's red?
You'd think it'd be so fucking obvious.
We're on.
I can barely run my iPhone, and that looks really obvious to me.
There are limitations, though. I was doing a podcast at my house with Travis and his brother and Frankel.
I heard about this.
And 75 minutes into it, where we were really settling in the groove to making fun of each other in ways that were completely inappropriate, the power goes out. Completely lost the entire thing.
Oh.
And you can't. And I was like, oh, you know, it'll probably save it right to the little micro SD.
No.
Yeah, it didn't. It didn't save anything. So yeah, you have to have power. It's a limitation. So yeah, we had no power for hours. So I got a generator out and hooked it to the Traeger and cooked steaks. And then I put my iPhone with the flashlight on facing up and an empty liquor bottle and put that on top of the flashlight, and it creates a lamp. And then we got blackout drunk.
Sounds about right. And the power goes down.
See, it's funny because I was just asking you, like, how long you've been recording these.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever watched a podcast. I know you can. Like, I know Joe and Jocko and some of those guys, but, like...
I believe the last time I talked to Joe, he said about 10% of his audience consumes it via watching it. But I'll tell you what.
Well, I'd like to do it.
That 10% of the audience is extremely vocal. Every time that I don't record the Q&A ones because I just feel, one, I don't like the sound of my voice or what I look like.
Mm-hmm.
So sitting there with the camera just on me as I'm like, hello, world, let me answer. Even though I'm going to start, because every time I don't film an episode, I get flooded with emails like, hey, you need to start filming your episodes. So I don't know. I guess it gives the word I hear is that it gives them you can see more from the social interaction and the small.
Yeah, no, I totally dig it. But you know, my routine is I'm out here early in the morning, doing whatever, shooting my bow, working out, whatever, and I'm listening to a podcast.
Yeah. You don't go music when you're working out?
No, that's false motivation, Andy.
I do both.
For years, I just did nothing. But
because you were just angry at yourself in the world.
Yeah, which I still am, but I'm maturing apparently as I go through my fifth decade. But I'm not done with the podcast. Clearly, like Joe's are hours long.
Yeah.
So then I throw my iPad in the car with the speaker, listen to it on my way to work. So I'm never in front of something where I could watch the podcast. But I may need to start like in the evenings because it's.
I hear people do it a lot at work, and I don't know the rules on this, so I'm not advocating that you do this at work, but they'll do like a background screen. And I've actually seen it. I went to Infinity Ward, the people who make one of the 3 companies that makes the Call of Duty franchise. Mm-hmm. And as we were just getting a tour, I actually saw 5 or 6 people like up in a small window. They had Joe's podcast up. And it was just kind of like background noise. And I don't know why do that versus just the audio only, but I don't know. People seem to like it.
I've cut the clips, Joe's clips, like the 5-minute ones.
Yeah, those are easier to consume
than
the 180-minute ones.
What it's like rolling with Jocko.
What's weird is Trevor didn't roll with Jocko. I was there that day. I was physically there.
He said he rolled for 5 minutes.
He did not roll with Jocko.
Joe said, never do that.
No, listen, Trevor, you're a liar. I was there. Trevor and I rolled for a little bit. Jocko did not roll with Trevor.
It might have looked like they were just hugging.
They weren't. The only person that rolled with Jocko was Dudley because we were done, and Dudley said, I want to get some pictures of rolling with you. And Jocko said, okay. He sat down and said, attack me. And then he broke his throat.
And then he came out with a broken neck.
That's 100% how it went. So Dudley was like, what do you want me to do? And he's just like, just attack me, bro. And then Dudley was immediately on his back, and Jocko was on top of him, which is the scariest environment imaginable. And then he thought he had throat cancer. It's not a big deal. It's just
that story is actually
it's pretty funny.
The best part was telling it.
It's funny because he didn't have throat cancer.
Yeah.
But it's funny.
The best part of that story was telling it to Jocko while we were in the Do Awesome Shitmobile trailer.
Yes, on that other podcast.
Yeah. Correct.
Yeah.
He had no idea that had happened, so we were just telling it to Jocko live. And so there's an example of one I wish I would have filmed, because Jocko's face was awesome. When Dudley's talking about getting tubes down his nose to check for throat cancer, Jocko's just like, You didn't tell me?
Just get my mind.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm surprised Trevor didn't actually keep training because he said he had done some previously. And he gets pretty deep into what he does.
Well, whatever he goes down, it's
Yeah.
a deep rabbit hole for sure.
Maybe he will in the future. You guys should probably introduce yourselves. You can go first, John, since you're a repeat guest.
I am a repeat guest.
Yes.
John Barklow. This is my bat cave.
Where do you work, John Barklow?
Yeah, so I work for...
Let me spoon feed you this.
Work for Sitka. You and I have been friends for...
Far too long.
Ever. Decades. And, work for Sitka, and I kind of manage the big game business, which is pretty cool. And, you and I were able to connect a couple years ago after you bought everything full retail and then called and asked if I was the same John Barklow that you knew.
I think it was an email.
Which I appreciate.
And I thought the subject line of the email was, "Hey, fuckface."
I'm pretty sure it was. And I knew, I was like, yeah, this is definitely the same Andy I knew.
I went to Bob Fromm's shop in San Diego when I got my bow. And I don't know why I bought all that camo. But I did. So I had all the Sitka on the wall. I'm like, I will take all this. And Fromm was like, "You're an excellent customer. Of course you can have all of this." And then I was back and I was looking on the website and I start seeing these product videos and I'm like, John Barklow? No way. And I click on it. I'm like, son of a bitch. So yeah, it's immediately was going through the Sitka site, found your email and send it with the subject line. Legitimately, it was, "Hey, fuckface." And he got right back to me. And then we met at the SHOT Show.
Because I'm pretty sure.
No, it was ATA. We linked up at the ATA.
Yeah, actually, that's yep. That's when you introduced me to Dudley for the first time.
Mm-hmm. The awesome archery trade show of America, which is what ATA
But I'm
stands
pretty
for.
sure whenever Andy and I, parted ways to do whatever, I'm pretty sure he said, "See you later, fuckface." So,
sure
I
he
mean,
did.
why wouldn't?
Yeah.
I see you're picking that up at the Sitka headquarters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It got you to read the email. I mean, it's a catchy subject line.
Oh, yeah.
He legitimately got right back to me, and yeah, Dudley took me to the ATA that year, which was interesting because I had been to it's the SHOT Show of the archery world.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny how, because you were at the show that Cam and I were talking about, the
Western Hunter.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't go to many trade shows. My goal is to go to 0 trade shows.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's interesting how they have the little niche for every little market.
I didn't go to SHOT this year, and I actually didn't miss it. I kind of had some plans for
I missed
January.
you. I was walking around over where you guys always were.
But once it started going, and then I'm getting texts, and I'm like, God damn it, my liver. I mean, it started twitching, and
either that show or that town will kill you.
Oh, and that show in that town will absolutely,
kill you for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
Your turn, Nelson.
Nelson Grant. Yeah, how's it going?
Do I need to spoon feed you too? What do you do for a living? What's your favorite color?
Favorite color? Blue and red, of course.
That's not a single color.
I know.
Okay.
That was a joke on the old fire life.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. So law enforcement, Northwest Montana. Yeah.
Every time I do a podcast and I talk about you, I say I'm going to make up a fake name, and I'll say it's Nelson, but it's actually just his name, and I'm talking directly about
Yeah.
him. So this is the Nelson that
It's pretty funny because I'll be in a random place. It'll be on in the background, like at the gym. I'll just hear you busting on me.
Have you ever been on the podcast before?
No, I haven't.
This is his
time.
first
Yeah.
podcast. I think this
Ever.
is probably
Ever.
your first podcast.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah. Just recently was a come out from the darkness. Allowed to say the name.
Because it's his first one ever, we are going to let Nelson tell a story. Because Nelson, among many things, is an excellent storyteller. And, John, you will appreciate this story. You already know what story I want to hear.
Yeah, you've been talking about it.
So the floor
That's
is
a
yours.
good one.
Well, let's
Yeah.
fill us in on the details and don't shortchange us.
All right, let's do it. The bear hunt with a bow.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You told me to tell me this. Yeah.
Andy told me about 10 minutes ago I was coming down to tell the story. So no, I started in archery hunting, let's see, probably 2005, 6-ish. And I got this guy's old bow. It was the old Matthews Black Max.
Mm-hmm.
And when I moved to Montana, Northwest Montana, at the time I had a tie-on leg quiver. Like I just,
Do you own one of those,
thrifty
Barklow?
No.
It
Do you know what he's talking about?
I think they went out with Robin Hood.
Yeah,
but-
it was old school
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah.
But at the time, I was piecing together. I think I paid $100 for this bow, and I could shoot it well at 20 yards. And no, it was at like it was all I had to carry my arrows. And then at some point, so I had, this is probably 08. I'm still shooting that bow, and my wife got me a quiver for my bow. But it was right before the season, and I didn't have a chance to like attach it to the bow and shoot it with it on. And I knew, well, I've read that it affects the flight of your arrow with the extra weight and stuff like that. So anyway, we're down in Darby, Montana, where she has property. My wife her family has property, and I have some bonus doe tags. And I get up super early. I'm like, I'm going to go out and fill one of these tags before the actual archery season, before I go after elk and all the other things. But
Was this your first archery season?
No, I had hunted, but I never killed anything before that. I think actually this bear was my first bow kill, to be honest. Because I had hunted. I grew up in Maine.
Seems about right.
Yeah. I grew up in Maine. I got this bow from a guy in Maine, Paul Lebrecht, in central Maine. And so never shot anything. Went after whitetails, but, never shot anything. Come out to Montana, get this quiver for my bow. And I hadn't had a chance to really practice with it. And so I go out super early this morning and on this property and looking for does. And sure enough, I see some does. Like as daylight's coming up, I see some does across this field, and I'm like, all right, I'm getting one of these, notching my tag. But so halfway across the field, I detach the quiver, pull an arrow out, nock an arrow, and kind of go in stealth like. And so I leave the quiver in the field because I can't carry it.
Mistake one.
Well, because I got like a wrist strap release, and I don't want to shoot this at a doe without have shotting, like without have really practicing. So anyway, I get in, and this doe vanishes. It's gone. I cannot find it. But like 45 yards in front of me is this black bear staring straight at me. And I'm like, well, giddy up. I've got a black bear. I got a bear tag in my pocket.
This only happens once in your life, by the way.
Yeah. I mean, and that's my first kill.
If ever.
So
Yeah.
it goes down. So I'm like, oh, giddy up. Let's party. I got a tag. You're in my zone now. So he's straight frontal shot, knowing nothing. So I draw back.
At 45?
At 45.
Yep.
Yeah.
What kind of sight did you have in your bow?
This is like estimation. I mean, this was 08 probably.
Yeah.
Over 10 years ago. And sight. I probably had a Whisker Biscuit rest. And I have no idea what kind of sight. Probably something you get at Walmart.
Did you have a rangefinder?
I don't remember. I don't think I did. I was pretty on the budget train.
So it was somewhere
at the
between
time.
20 to 80 yards.
Yeah, for sure. But I knew I have a pin that'll do that.
Okay.
It's pretty wide fiber.
Okay.
No, so I was super calm. I'd seen a lot of bears before. I've hunted a long time. This was like for archery. This was my first bear, and actually probably first animal, as I said. So I draw back, super calm, no panic or anything, and I'm just like, you're done. And actually, I still remember it was a brown-faced bear, black bear, with a white V on his chest. Mm-hmm. It was a female actually, and her paw was up on this tree, and it was like a little sapling, kind of like bent over, and she just was like still, not moving at all. And I see her at 40 yards, 45 yards, draw back, and perfect shot. Right into the tree. That was crossing her vitals. And so
What are the odds?
yeah, and I had not even seen that tree. So she spins, climbs a tree right behind this little sapling, and now I'm stuck in this problem. Like, well, I have an arrow that's right below the tree where she's at, or a quiver of arrows. Like, I have no idea how far away that field is with the arrows, because I stuck for a long ways in on this doe. So I'm like, I make the decision to go after the arrow in the tree, withdraw it from the tree, and reacquire my sights on this bear. So I cruise over to the tree.
Mistake number 2.
Yes. So I cruise to the tree, and this bear is like probably 4 feet above, off the ground.
4 feet?
4 or 5 feet. I had to like get low, and so I as I approach the tree, I holler at it, and it's like woofing at me, and it cruises up a little bit, and I see the arrow in the tree. I'm like 10 feet away, and so I'm like, hey bear, and it cruises up a little bit, but it's just woofing at me. It's this, for some reason I was not, I did not have my fear engaged for this bear. Looking back, it was definitely a poor choice, but anyway, so I cruised to this arrow, and so the sapling is between me and the big tree the bear is cruising up. And immediately when I grab my arrow, the whole tree moves, and it's like a green tree, and the broadhead is through the tree, and I'm like, there's no way I'm getting this out. So I fight with it for a minute, end up cutting my fingers, and as trying to get this arrow out of the sapling, this bear is woofing at me the whole time, and now I'm directly below it, and now it's probably at like 10 feet, and I'm hollering at it like, hey bear, to try to keep it contained in the tree. And
your plan was still to pull the arrow out and shoot said bear.
Did not seem like a bad plan. I mean, right now when I'm describing it, it sounds horrible. But I definitely thought I would lose this bear if I ran out to the field to get the quiver with the arrows and run back to the tree. It would be down and gone. So I'm like, I'm taking this bear. So I'm below the bear, cut my fingers, trying to pull this arrow, and I'm feeling bark, and all of a sudden, like, I feel my whole upper body is wet, and I'm wiping my face, and I realize the bear just urinated all over me. I'm not shitting you. And
that's bow hunting right there.
Yeah. And so as I'm like wiping the piss off me, I'm getting blood all over me from my cut fingers.
Oh my God.
And so I decide, okay, well, this arrow is not coming out. The bear now is probably 15, 20 feet up, and I think it's staying put. So set my bow down, run out to the field, grab the quiver, run back in, and to be honest, it took me a minute to find the specific tree that had the bear in it. But so when I came back, it now was like 60 feet up in the tree. It was way up there. But luck would have it on my side that this tree was planted on a steep hillside, and so I grabbed my bow and cruise up the hillside, and now I'm about 30 yards across from the bear, and double lung it, comes out of the tree, and I hear the death moan. It broke like both shoulders on the way out, and so I'm like, I didn't know this is down in Darby, Montana, and they're not known for black bears. So I head over to the house, and my father-in-law was just coming outside, and he's like, oh, you got blood on you. You got a doe. And I'm like, no, I just shot a black bear. And he's like, bullshit.
You shot a grizzly bear.
Yeah. No, so we go over, and it turned out it wasn't a very big bear. It was.
I kind of
gathered
that, but
it was like a 9-year-old black bear that was on the like downgrade. They did the tooth sample and checked it for trichnosis and all that, and did not have trichnosis. But yeah, it was cool. So my sergeant at the time did taxidermy. So I call him. I'm super stoked. I call him like, hey, I just shot a bear with my bow. And he's like, whoa, that's pretty sweet. So he gives me instructions on how to prep the cape so that he's ready for it when I get back up to the flathead. And when I get there, he just starts laughing. And every year there's a Christmas party, and they do, in the department, they roast several people. And my roast that year was that he had to order a muskrat form for my black bear. But it was cool. It was a fun experience, and I learned a lot. And I've since run into a lot of bears in the mountains, including grizz, and definitely have a different appreciation for them now. But yeah.
Do you know anybody else who's been pissed on by a bear?
no,
I don't either.
no, not even.
It's the most amazing bear story ever.
It's a rare trait.
Why would you get that close to the tree?
So I don't know. I think I could judge its behavior, and I don't know. I thought I could get up to the tree and get the arrow out and re-knock, and I was like, I'm getting this thing. And it was, I feel like it was on defense. I could tell it was not aggressive. It wasn't an offensive posture. So that's probably why I ran up. But
I was going after a blacktail in Alaska years ago. Kind of first couple years I was there. And they were on the right side of a ridge, kind of in this bowl. So I went up the left side, and my plan was to try to, parallel them and then come up over the top and get a shot.
Bow or rifle?
A bow. And it worked out perfect, except you never know what the other, what the animal's going to do. And so I kind of estimated, I climbed the ridge, and I'm making it a little more dramatic, but I'm kind of pulling myself up like this. And as I do that, one of the bucks is standing right there, like on the ridge. He's maybe 3 feet down, so we're almost face to face like you. I'm down like this, and he's standing up just a little above me. And we kind of spook each other. And because we're so close, he snorts and literally blows snot right in my face.
Jesus.
And then took off. And that was the last I ever saw of him. But I was like, wow, like, that was pretty cool.
Yeah,
you know?
Close encounters. You had a close one this year.
But if I got pissed on, I don't think I'd be telling that story.
Hey.
When he first told me, he was like, I had bark chips on me and everything was sticking.
It was, for sure. Yeah. So I get urinated on. Well, and I didn't know it at first. I realized. But then, as he's climbing up, the bark's coming off the tree and it's sticking to me, and I'm wiping my face, and I realize I'm bleeding everywhere. Yeah.
It's awesome. I love that story.
Hey, got
the learning curve is steep.
Yeah. You know. I have a quiver on my bow now.
I hope so. I hope so.
How close did that bull get to you this year? It was last year?
I think about 3 yards.
Yeah. It looks like that in the video.
It was a lot closer looking at it through 8K or whatever my eyes work at. I was legitimately running through a self-defense scenario. I didn't know. It's I've thought about that. I could have drawn back before it came into the field, but as you know from hunting there, the interaction between the guide, you have to have the permission before, and I just kind of happened to look back as it was in the field walking towards me and saw the thumbs up. And in my head, I'm thinking, how in the hell am I going to draw back? And this isn't going to see me. So I just figured it would see me, and then they would try to stop it. But yeah, it came in to, as close as any animal has ever come, and was bugling on the way in. It was, which the video captures the bugle, but not the vibration of your chest when it actually does it in front of you. The video is cool, but...
Well, so you and Cam were talking about this in your podcast the other day, right?
Yeah.
And I remember you said that, and it's not the same, but it's similar to like an explosion. Like if you hear one, it's loud.
Yeah.
But if you feel it,
one,
that's your like, fuck, right? And so when you hear those bugles, it's one thing, but when they're close enough where it's reverberating in your chest, you're like, oh yeah.
It feels like the ground's shaking.
This is legit.
Yeah. And you're trying to draw back.
Well, Caleb afterwards, I shot, it went just over the hill. We could hear, I didn't know what it was at the time. It was the gurgling, like Cam was saying, it was drowning. And then it was quiet, and I look over at Caleb, and he's just holding his head. He's like, I need a fucking minute. He was just filming too, and it was and the guides were super pumped. And I'm just like, I think that was awesome. I thought I had hit him back. I was actually pissed at myself.
Yeah.
But then I saw
he was
very hard quarter, and it was good. And we found him literally right over the hill. But yeah, for somebody who was there and was just filming it to have to say, hey, I need a few minutes to collect my shit. It was a pretty intense moment for sure.
Well, I don't know if I told you this story, but when I killed that bull last year, I'm kind of looking up at this timbered ridge because that's where the chaos is kind of going on,
Oh, you could hear it but not see them?
Yeah. They were there, and you're like, if you push up, and you're just let's let it develop,
Yeah.
And you could hear some other bugles in the distance, but we're kind of on the top of a knob, and we're looking toward the top of this ridge. And so I had a cameraman, right? And he's behind me about 18 yards, and he's off to my left, maybe 4 or 5 yards. And so he's got the camera down like this, whatever he does, and he's filming me, thinking the whole action's going to happen like this.
For the people who are listening, he was down at his belly. I saw that often. Instead of having it up at his eye, it was a little bit down lower.
Yeah, because he's got that screen, so it allows him to look around, but he can still kind of frame the shot. And
cradled
see
like a baby, a little bit, actually.
Cradled like a baby.
Yeah. Very expensive baby.
So anyways, all this is going on, and I'm just thinking, to me, these are those are the moments I live for now, and I'm just like, just absorb everything you can, Well, next thing you know, there's a bugle, like this gnarly bugle, like directly behind me. And like I said, we're on a kind of a knob. Well, I spin a 180, so now the videographer is in front of me 18 yards, but now off to my right 4 or 5 yards. And I see him. He's down on his knees doing
Videographer things.
Videographer things, And I see the bull's rack start to come up. And so, I knew where the trail was because I had just walked on it. And I'm guessing him, all this stuff you do. I'm guessing in my mind. I'm like, do I draw yet? Nope, don't draw. Comes in, he stops. This bull stops 3-4 yards behind the cameraman, who is just off the trail we just walked in on.
The bull does not see the cameraman at this time?
He does not see the cameraman. He doesn't see me. The cameraman, though, is looking at me, and he's got this big bull behind him, and he just rips a bugle.
And no description does that justice.
That's awesome.
No description.
September is amazing.
And Austin, I'll probably get this wrong. Let's just say he's from the Midwest. He's a great guy. He's been around. But he's got this big bull behind him. He's supposed to keep the frame on me because now I'm looking at him. And I got my bow, and I'm just trying to figure out. And he's standing at, we'll say the bull's at 18, 20 yards, something like that. And I kind of move, so I got some aspens between his eyes. I come to full draw, and I'm just standing there now. The bull realizes he doesn't see a cow, something's wrong. So he turns, and as he turns to walk back down, Tom cow calls. And I assume this is all going to go down.
Yep.
Tom cow calls. I'm thinking 23 yards stopped in my head. I forgot about Austin. I mean, why would I worry about Austin?
Yeah.
As long as he doesn't move.
As long as he's not in your sight picture, you should be good.
Absolutely. So the bull goes, stopped, and I cut the shot loose, smack him, bull goes running. And I'm excited, but I'm trying to keep quiet, He's like, oh my God, dude, that was awesome. But you almost shot me. And I don't want to overhype it, but he's like, dude, you almost shot me. And I was like, I didn't almost shoot you. I knew where you were.
Yeah.
I can shoot right past you. And he goes, well, the coolest thing is I knew you were going to shoot, and he's got the camera on me. And as he shot, he turned his head and he watched the arrow impact.
Oh, nice.
And he goes, you smoked the bull. Like, don't even worry. And so he actually had a more exciting time than even I did.
Did they catch the audio of the arrow flying by? Like, what did he capture in his shot?
He said he got it.
Yeah.
He said he didn't get the bull. He got me.
Where is this footage?
I've never even seen it. That's the crazy thing, dude.
I would have had him replay that like 10 times there.
So, once the bull, like as soon as the shot hits, he runs out of sight. So we kind of sit down, wait your,
That's the time to review the film.
So some of these guys don't want to do it because they're afraid that they're going to like erase it, right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I hadn't thought about that. That's
Kind of like you
point.
not pushing record on the
like
podcast. So whatever.
It's happened before.
So we sit there. He's relating the tale. He's like, dude, you shot right past. I was like you could have been like 3 yards closer. You'd have been fine. You could have put an apple on your head. I probably hit the apple and the bull.
It's that camo. Can't
Yeah.
really see you.
No, it was just like one of those unique experiences. And so we wait the hour. We get on this trail, which is just like the blackest dirt just churned up.
I was going to say, wasn't your
that's
recovery
awesome.
kind of a bitch?
It was, but
Because
that's just kind of the way it is with me sometimes. But so we're walking downhill, and I'm looking in this dark dirt like an idiot for blood, which you're not going to see it. And he's behind me and Tom doing his thing, right? And so he's looking around, and he taps me on the shoulder, and he's like, what about that tree? And I'm kind of like, yeah, don't fucking bother me. And he's like, no, what about that tree? And I look, and he ran through this aspen grove with those white trunks. And on the left side of that trail that's dark as dirt, there is literally like a fire hose worth of blood
Chest high.
on every aspen all the way down the left-hand side going
That's
downhill.
awesome.
And I'm thinking, he's done. Like, he will literally be at the bottom of this. And when we got to the bottom, lost blood, didn't find the arrow, lost blood for like, say, 2 hours. I wander off on my own.
How does that happen?
I have a theory, and I don't know if it's a good one, but I hit him on the left side,
Yep.
and I hit him from the arrow going hop down,
so slightly downward angle.
Slightly downward angle. When he got to the bottom, he turned and started going uphill.
Yep.
So now his left side is up a little bit, and I think the blood stopped coming out, even
Until
though
it
it was
got to the
spraying.
hole.
Anyways, so I kind of wander off. I'm thinking he's going to do something we don't expect. He's probably going to go uphill.
Were you in Barklow grumpy pants mode at this point?
I was getting there because
Yeah.
I had the same thing happen
It's
last
an
year.
amazing-
It's, I've been on recoveries like that, and it's when it's
Right?
hands and knees, specs.
Yeah, and I'm just like, there's no fucking
Beyond
way
that,
I'm
though.
losing this bull. Like, there's just no way. This bull is dead. We have to just find him.
Barklow
So
has
anyways-
an amazing grumpy pants attitude, though. It happened the last day when he got his bull when we were in White Sulphur. He was frustrated.
I think I heard this story.
Yes, he would drink himself to sleep every night. It was amazing.
Yeah. It's
Sorry.
a thing.
Yeah.
No, it's a thing.
Yeah. So you're looking for the bull.
But anyways, long story short, I wander off. I randomly find blood. This place is fucking huge.
Yeah.
And I literally find blood. I've walked off the ranch, 250-some thousand acres. I turn around and there's the fucking sign that says, "You're entering this ranch." And I'm like, and there's blood. And I'm like, God damn it, this thing ran off
How far were you from the last known blood?
300 yards.
Wow. Oh, my
Yeah,
God.
it sucks. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Marketing it.
300 yards uphill, right?
Because you're here, and then it's like, ha.
So long story
Yeah.
short, here's what happened. Those guys went downhill. I said, there's no way. I think he did something we didn't expect. So I go up. I find this blood. Now I'm trying to backtrack it, and I keep losing it. These guys go downhill, finally find my arrow. As soon as they find the arrow on the ground, the blood starts bigger than ever, higher than ever on the trees. 500 yards later, we find this bull literally piled up downhill, like literally he died on a dead run. I think he just took off on a dead run. Couldn't make it uphill, so he kept trying to go uphill, went down, kept trying to go uphill.
So you caught him at
And
the
so
top of a sine wave.
I caught him at the top of the sine wave where he had dropped 1/4 size drop of blood and went downhill. And I kept looking up, as much as I could. Anyways, you're just like, but yeah, I've never seen the footage. But the videographer, he had I had a great experience, but
Have you asked him for it?
no, I don't know.
That might have something to do with it.
I
haven't
just
seen
forget
it.
about that stuff.
Oh, my God. What's your best hunting experience been, Nelson? What's your,
Elk for sure. Elk, man, just like you were saying, it feels like the ground is shaking. And it's September is beautiful. It's a magical time. I've had a really good time hunting a lot of different things, bears and whitetail, obviously bears.
Yep.
But elk in Montana, public land, just getting out there where maybe there's somebody else at the trailhead, or maybe you're camping 6 miles back, and if somebody comes in, it's going to change the dynamics of how you're bugling. And but yeah, a bunch of my buddies and I, we always hit it every September, and we take a lot of time, a couple weeks, and usually around that 20th, September 20th. And last year I had an amazing hunt, and it's funny because sometimes they blend together, and it's cool to see the trophies on the wall or the horns up there because it brings back every hunt. And last year, man, I had a amazing hunt on a really big 6-point bull, deep in the mountains, and I didn't get it. But I watched
you did
him.
shoot at it, right?
I shot at it, yeah. Yep. So it was a fun story if you want to.
Yeah, go for it, man.
It's super thick up there, huh?
Yeah. Well, so I wasn't in the Flat Valley for this one, but it was one of those. It was warmer, if you guys remember, in September last year here,
yes.
and just they weren't fired up for a long time. It took a while, and so going 3 or 4 days when you're out in the mountains, it's hard when you don't hear a bugle. Because hunting with a bow for an elk with no bugling, it feels like
Yeah, you might as well go home and drink.
Yeah. So this afternoon, man, me and a buddy of mine, we cruised into an old spot where my brother-in-law killed a bull. We call it the JH hole, the Josiah Hughes hole. And so we cruised into the JH hole, and I haven't been in there in 4 years. And the trees had just grown up so much. It took us forever to do what normally took an hour to get into. It took us a couple hours because of deadfall, the beetle kill. And so I was questioning it already. Like, man, maybe we're wasting the afternoon. Maybe we shouldn't have come in here. But go in, and we get to the end of this ridge, and we're overlooking this steep canyon. And there's a nice pristine creek at the bottom. And So we sit down eating a sandwich, and we hear a bull rip off, and it's like 3 o'clock in the afternoon, a hot day. Like, it was basically a scouting adventure in the middle of hunting season. We hear a bull bugle, and you obviously think, man, is that a person or is that a bull? You know, I'm like, cause it's been so negative, you know, like you're in this zone where you're like, man, I haven't had any success. And anyway, so this bull bugle, so we're like, well, let's make a play on it. And so we drop in, and my buddy was shooting I want to say he was shooting a recurve bow. So he had a short.
Why would you possibly make it harder?
Yeah, I think it's
it's hard enough as it is.
It worked in my favor. It worked in my favor because
let's instinctively shoot. Let's not put a sight of any kind on this and aim down the arrow.
I like bringing the recurve guy because then he's like, oh, he's out of my range. I'm like, giddy up, I'm up. No, so we hear this bull. We drop to the bottom, and the thermals were perfect. The wind was in our face, and he was up canyon, so worked in on him. And it took a good 45 minutes, and we were all of a sudden on top of this guy, and we could see him through this broken timber.
Were you calling or just sneaking in?
Nope, we were sneaking in, and usually we're call heavy. And for this day, I'm like, let's not do anything, you know, let's not screw this up. We can wait on him. He doesn't know we're here. The thermals are perfect. Get in on him, and end up seeing him bed down on the other side of this creek in like perfect mossy, you know, ground. So I look at Onyx, and I'm like, okay, I think we can get into 60 yards. And my buddy's like, I can't take that shot. So I'm like, all right, well, do you mind if I try? He's like, no, go for it. So
now, at this point, do you know it's 60 yards, or have you not gotten a rangefinder still?
No, I have a rangefinder.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Do you have a quiver?
Yeah.
Is it attached to your
I took
bow?
it off. I took one arrow because I knew I have a quiver. No, I'm up to speed now. I've got some good gear. But so I take my boots off, cross the creek, and hands and knees it in, and get to where I was seeing the bull, and I knew the cow. He had cows too. He was a herd bull, but they were on the other side of him, so it was just perfect opportunity. So I hands and knees it, get in on him, get up, and range him, and I'm at 70 yards, so I move in a little closer, and 63 yards, get a perfect shooting lane, and I'm like, all right, I got him. Like, all he's got to do is stand up. I've got him. I'm watching him all day long. Within 5 minutes of me getting there, he stands up. So this was like money in the bank. It was, not punching your tag, but I was super stoked. It was textbook. And so I draw back. I had my dial spun, my spot hog spun all the way up to the exact range, 63 yards, And so he stands up. And as soon as he does, though, he takes a step to his right, which is quartering away from me, and because his cows were chirping on the other side of him. And so my buddy behind me is watching all this way across the creek. He's over 100 yards away. And so he cow chirps, and it turns him back broadside. I settle. I'm not spooked at all. I'm not shaking. I'm just calm as can be. And I release the perfect arrow, and I watch that lighted knock go in the air and drop right in the last minute, shoot straight up in the air. And which I couldn't figure at the time. And he spooks, spins, the cows chirp, and they're gone. Yeah. And we try to cow call a little, but man, I mean, we were so close to him that we would have talked coming into him. So I knew talking wasn't going to work at that time. But cruise over, and there was like this dead white branch, and I had studied for the 5 minutes that I was there. This dead stick, as it came down, I
see a common theme with him.
Yeah, I like fallen trees.
Yeah, that sucks.
No.
Right?
No, it was one of my, obviously it was the most fresh archery
experience.
The year before I had several awesome, encounters, but it was the most fresh. It was a beautiful hunt, and it didn't hit the bull at all, and he went off. It was a big, bleached out 6-point. It was a fun hunt. It's one that you'll never forget, and I watched him bugle for a good 45 minutes and bed down, and I thought this is money in the bank. Mm-hmm. But didn't happen. But that's hunting, and it was awesome. And I ended up getting one in rifle. I know that. I hunted a lot further, a lot harder the next couple weeks, but regrouped and came back in rifle and got a nice bull.
Still filled the freezer.
Yep. Yep, that was a brutal pack out. It was a double. My buddy Alan and I, we doubled up on bulls, cross canyon shot, a little over 500 yards, and it was
That's a long day.
a lot.
It always seems like a good idea at the time.
Oh my God.
We
That's a long
high-fived.
day.
It was cool. We were
You
on
high-fived
like
before or after the hike out?
right after the shot, before the hike out.
Before the actual work begins, the hours of...
You know, we spent 2 days pulling 2 bulls out of there, but it was fun. It was awesome. 2 nice 6 points. So I think his was 6, might have been 5 point.
Did you just drop the guts? Or how'd you...
So yeah, that night, so that was the end. So on that one, that was a cool hunt too. So it was like brutally cold, Southwest Montana, rifle season. It was probably
November?
Yep, it was probably first week of November, second week of November, somewhere in there. And when we got to camp, we were setting up a wall tent, and it was blowing sideways at, below 0 temperatures, so it was cold. And so that first night we glassed a bunch of...
Below 0 or below freezing?
No, it was below 0. It was definitely below 0. It was cold.
I don't like the cold weather that much anymore.
Yeah, that wall tent, that stove was pumping all night. We brought some starter wood, and we burned through it the whole that first night. We had to go cut wood the next day. So anyway, we saw a bull, though, that first night right from the truck. We were glassing 3 or 4 miles away. We saw the drainage that he was working, and we're like, okay, that's where we're going in the morning. And we went there. We chased Alan saw that bull on foot that next morning, just couldn't get a shot on it. And so till about 3 in the afternoon, we were tracking elk until they got into like a huge herd, and we lost the bull. And we don't, from the night before, fresh snow.
Yeah.
And so we were regrouping. We're like, should we go back out and glass for the evening and see where there's some elk so we can make a play the next day? Or what should we do? And while we're sitting there, I glassed another couple miles away, some elk about the same deep, distance from truck and camp area, trailhead area.
Yeah.
Some elk on some hillside that I'm like, nobody can see those. This is public land, southwest Montana. So I'm like, it's hunted, but nobody can see those elk. And this is a cow bull zone. So I'm like, I'd punch my tag on a cow tonight.
For sure.
So early rifle, but my brother-in-law was flying in. He had a non-res tag, so I was going to focus on helping him get a bull, hopefully. And so I'm like, let's go. We had like an hour and a half before dark, and we just started humping it in the mountains. We crossed canyon, going over canyons and stuff, and we got within. It actually took a while to set up on them, but we got within 500 yards. We using Onyx again. Pulled it out. It was like, okay, I think there's a break in the timber down here. And we did the line to line, and it was like, it looks like 600 yards. It ended up being 500 because I got a rangefinder now. And and it was a crazy. I mean, Alan works on the SWAT team with me, and he had his sniper gun, and we got into spot and had to shoot off our packs on a downhill slope, and took them perfect shots. It was awesome. So then it was high fives, and so we dropped down and went straight up the other canyon, got to our bulls, and we just gutted them. Usually I gutless quarter them to get them out, but we knew we had put in.
I have to leave them.
Yeah, like 15 miles that day, so we're like, let's go out light, come back tomorrow, and start just packing quarters out. So we gutted them that night, put a stick in there. It was cold. It was, like I said, super cold. So yeah, it was a hunt to remember, man. That was a lot of work and a lot of fun.
Barklow likes going back to kill sites.
Yeah, preferably no.
Do you scare bears up in trees? Is that what you're getting at?
Just all my time in Alaska, it's just that's not what you want to do.
No.
But we
Shit,
did
it
go
happened to us
for your 9/11 bull. We went back, and Dud didn't know. He just saw it. He's like,
it was brown, and he saw it
he's
running
like,
off.
Yeah.
fuck! I saw a big bear. It was brown, and where we were, there's not supposed to be grizzlies, but you never know.
Oh, totally.
But we had to go back.
We had perimeter security.
Well, we went back. We went back
What
to
would you
get
take? A shotgun or?
Pistols.
Yeah.
Oh, that
we went
sounds-
back to get the meat, right? Which
I was just going to shoot John in the
you're-
leg and
you're
run faster
gonna
than him.
but the best part was when we decided to go back yet again to put a trail camera up for
I heard
fishing
this story.
game.
Yeah.
What
And I'm like-
what was the decision on that? Was that a grizz or a black bear?
It was a
No.
color phased.
Okay.
Big
Yeah.
color phase black bear.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that was cool to confirm that, but I was like,
It was
Still,
not.
black
It was
bears,
not
man.
cool to return to
I was
the
like,
site.
I don't know if
A
this
black
is
bear
like,
on a kill site, man, is still a gnarly bear.
Yeah.
Well-
Fortunately, they heard it, or it heard us coming. Got the hell out of there. But
And John the way he kind of hangs his quarters and butchers, there was a piece of hide tied in the tree, and so because you don't actually, even with the GPS, you don't exactly know where it is. You don't want to stumble into a bear within like 100 yards of the kill.
Yeah.
And we could glass that piece of hide,
That's
so
awesome.
we knew exactly where we wanted to get to.
Yeah.
And so then we just got the wind and worked our way in. But yeah, and there was nothing there at the time. Well,
that was such a cool trip.
that was a great trip.
Yeah. My favorite part was how upset you were when you got to the top of the mountain. The day that John shot.
Yeah, weren't you hustling up to get the bull?
Oh my God,
And then
he was
I'm glad John killed it, but it
Dudley
was like
did.
literally, it was like, because I don't have a vehicle, so
He was
I'm just
so
like,
hot and bothered.
I'm just like
he had a
hiking.
fresh lather coming out of his freaking
Oh yeah,
chest hairs. Just everything's unzipped, and he's just like,
and I get up there and I can barely fucking breathe, And they're like, "Yeah, we killed the bull. He's right there." And I just like I started getting upset, and I'm like, "That's fucking awesome! They killed a bull." I'm like, I could barely like high five, like literally the highest point we
from
could get
where
to.
we started. Yeah.
And I was like, awesome.
We just wanted you to
Dudley
share
was
this experience with us.
I felt good
we
about
coulda
myself
told you.
physically.
Dudley was legitimately trying to like slow play that.
There's no way when you saw the footage. You're
Yeah.
Yeah.
like there's no way.
Yeah.
That was cool.
Opportunity
that was,
presents.
Well, it worked out in the end because I was able to get that
Yeah.
bell ringer at the very end of the last day,
Which
I
was
heard about
also
never.
insane.
And you got great video of that one.
Yeah, I did.
Like right over my shoulder.
Junior cameraman qual. I was able to film Dudley's
You
and
sent that
Barklow's.
to me
Yeah.
right after Avon.
Yeah, and one day you got two really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We had 7 minutes of shooting light left, maybe, for yours.
Oh yeah.
Dude.
Like as
That's
soon as we
awesome.
shot, like there was no let's wait 30 minutes. It was like as soon as we shot, it was too late to shoot.
Yeah.
Like it was legal shooting light because I looked at my watch, but with the trees and the way it's sunset, it was like done. Like
Yeah.
I couldn't see anymore.
But
I
the-
can't shoot like
You know what's crazy about that is the way Dudley was like sweet talking that thing out of the trees. He was
Yeah.
doing like, because he uses a tongue read,
Uh-huh.
which
Yeah.
I can
Yeah,
use
yeah,
them too. It just doesn't
yeah.
make the appropriate noise. But I know how to put
That's
it in
the
my mouth.
worst.
I can get my golden retriever to respond every time, but I'm afraid to do it around elk. But he was like sitting there super, because we were three of us in a line, and we were sitting there, and I'm not like, I'd describe it as a meow, like
That's a good one.
yeah.
Yep.
But he has his mouth read. He's doing it so quiet, and you can
super
and you can
quiet.
see
That's awesome.
and I couldn't see the elk, but I could see its feet, and it's just like moving back and forth
At one point, I think that bull
then
was like
hooked
10
around.
yards away
from him, and then
from him. Yeah.
it hooked back around and came out, and then yeah, it was insane. And then I had to get on the road because my daughter had a horse show. I'm like, I got to get out of
Oh,
here
yeah.
because I thought we were done, and then we were not done.
We were not done.
We were not done at all. What's your bucket list hunt?
Let's see. So there's a lot. We were talking about this earlier.
Yeah.
Definitely a ram. I shot a mountain goat a couple years ago, which it was really cool because I put in for moose, sheep, and goat, Montana, and those are like the top three: special moose, sheep, and goat.
Yeah.
And then I also put in for the special draws. But I got this goat tag and read Beast of Color Winter. It's a book put out about mountain goats, this biology book. And so I learned a lot about it, and it ended up being an amazing hunt. It was it combined some mountaineering skills that I had and, just days and days of not success and then seeing this goat. And,
The goat's are the little billy, not the little one, the billy with the spikes, right?
Yep,
And then the
yep.
rams are the one with the curls.
Correct.
All right.
So getting to your question, definitely a bighorn ram. I want to shoot a ram. But that probably, I hope, will happen, in my lifetime because I got a bunch of bonus points now in Montana and stuff. But
You could probably drive up to Jocko's and accidentally kill one with our car. They're
Little
all
di-
over
little
the side.
different,
They're
little
all over the
different.
side of the road.
Yeah.
But Kodiak bear, I really want to, go on one of those hunts. But that's down the road, and we'll see what happens.
What about you,
Yeah.
Barklow? You've hunted a lot.
Yeah.
You got anything left on the list?
Yeah. Yeah, if I could pick one, it'd be elk every year, like
Yeah.
for the rest of my
Yeah.
life.
I think the three of us agree on
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
It's
but,
it's unlike anything.
I don't know
Yeah.
why, but I'd love to kill a mountain caribou.
Okay.
And I've hunted caribou a few times. I've never killed one, but specifically a mountain caribou because they're kind of up in the high country
Cool.
in early August. And I was on a hunt a couple years ago with Jonathan, the founder of Sitka, and he killed a giant mountain caribou. And it was super cool because it was in the snow.
Bow or rifle?
Rifle. So we I forget how many hours, but we rode to this cabin like 6 hours sticks in my mind. We rode horses to this kind of cabin and dropped kind of a lot of our stuff, and then took our bivy gear, and then rode like another hour and a half, 2 hours, and got dropped off at this spike camp. So maybe the next day we got dropped off at the spike camp. Yeah, the next day. The horses leave. They're going to come back and get us when we, satellite text them. And we glass, and immediately we find caribou with like one giant bull. And within 3 hours, Jonathan had killed that bull. And it was just a monster.
That's cool.
So we got dropped off, found the bull. 3 hours later, we shot it. We're back at camp by dark. And then they came back and got us the next day. And then we kept looking for mountain caribou. But, bull of a lifetime. But they're just super cool. Like, and now that I've got to see one, up close, they're crazy.
I haven't researched that. That's really cool. I didn't know there was a mountain species.
Clearly, Andy, I will never go back and hunt moose again because I have zero. I'm 0 for 19 days right now.
Ooh.
Yeah,
on moose?
So, on moose.
Yeah,
that is
odds.
rough.
Yeah.
That is rough.
That is super rough.
I'm not sure
Alberta?
I care that much anymore. British
BC.
Columbia.
Okay.
Both
BC.
times.
Yep.
Near Prince of Wales, right? Prince George, Prince of Wales?
Prince George, and then the next time was right up. The one I was telling you about, the mountain caribou, we
Yeah.
were right up against the Yukon border.
Those are the big bulls.
That was an awesome hunt. Like, I wouldn't give up that hunt for anything. It was 12 or 13 days, I think, of riding. I forget. It was over 100 miles. I got it all written down. I'd say 120 miles. But got in a big horse accident, had a horse fall on me. But it
What?
was just oh, yeah, dude.
How'd it
was
fall
an
on you?
Epic
Wow.
trip.
Do tell.
So we went in the last hunt of the year. We knew the outfitter, Dustin Rowe, from Backcountry BC and beyond. So just like super, super professional, legit guy and outfit, and great area. We knew we were getting there a little late in the season, but, two guys killed really nice moose. Jonathan killed a really nice mountain caribou. But the deal was we were going to take all the horses, and we were closing up all the cabins, and we were riding all the way out of the mountains back to the trailhead.
So you were closing them out for the year.
We were closing them out for the year. We were the last kind of clients, client/friends. And so that we get there, we fly in, land on a lake, blah, blah, blah. And they keep talking about the last day, like, oh, the trail out, like the last day. And I'm like, the fuck, man? Like, I haven't ridden a horse in 20 years.
Yeah.
Like, you're talking about, like, these are wranglers. People, like, own horses. And, I'm like, well, maybe I'll just walk the horse. I don't know. I mean,
I'm with you.
but by the end of, like, 10, 11, 12 days, like, I'm feeling really good. The horse I got is this big white horse called the Great White, right? But giant, like he's a Frisian or something. Like, he's just a giant
12 days,
horse.
that's a good.
Like, I have to stand on a stump to get in the saddle, like to even get my foot in the stirrup, right?
It's a big drop too then.
Yeah. But anyways, we're going out the last day, and I'll try to get it exactly right the way I remember it. But first of all, the horses ran off in the middle of the night with their hobbles because they knew that the trailhead was, 12 hours away, and so they were gone. So then,
I take it they did not return.
no, the wranglers had to get up at like 4 a.m. and go find them. By the time they came back at 11 o'clock in the morning, one dude was damn near hypothermic.
Oh.
So me and John and Jonathan and Jay gave him like our extra stuff, so he was good. Now we start trailing out. It had snowed, then it had warmed up, so the trail's like super icy, which is, perfect for a fairly novice rider.
Yes.
And
To gallop.
dude, it turned into a giant rodeo. So, and
Which
I might
signed up for it.
Oh yeah. No, but this is what made it so cool. But like a couple hours in, we have one dude with a concussion, one wrangler with a concussion.
All from falling?
The horse is falling or getting bucked off.
From the
one
ice?
dude with like a dislocated shoulder. Yep. It was ice, but it was super, super steep in places. And I'm riding behind
Oh, that's
Jonathan,
sketchy.
and Jay's behind me, right? We're kind of bringing up tail end Charlie, and I just see Jonathan disappear, and I see a hand fly up, and he just starts, woohoo! And I'm like, what? And he's fucking crazy anyways, right? I can't stop this horse if I wanted to. Like, he's going, and I look down, and you said your wife's a professional mountain biker.
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't have ridden down this on my mountain bike. And the horse goes, and his ass end starts doing this, and he sits down, and he just literally slides down the trail, makes a big banking left turn, a big banking
So it was a
right turn.
horse luge.
It was a horse luge. And so we all came out of that. And it's
That would
like,
have been a good video.
okay, we've already got some possible concussions, shoulder injury. We should probably walk down some of this stuff. But anyways, I'm making this longer than it should be. Then we get to the bogs, and they're like, oh, the bogs. Like, don't let your horse fall in the bog. I'm like, how the fuck am I supposed to? Like, we don't even know where the bogs are, you know? And so a couple people, you know, horse went into the bog, had to get pulled out. And I'm riding wherever Great White wants to go. And the next thing I know, I'm doing what Jonathan did. And this horse is bucking because he went chest deep in a bog, and he's bucking. My hand just naturally comes up like this. And I kind of did this a couple times. And Great White gets out of it. And Hart and Jay are like, oh my God, that was awesome. Do it again. Go back in. Do it again. I'm like, first of all, I don't even know what happened. But fuck you, I'm not going back in. Right?
Go back in.
So now we're riding, and we're like, okay, we're getting close. This is the part of the trail where there's like 8 horse skeletons. Because horses have broken legs.
There must be a nickname for that part of trail.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Horses have broken legs, and not Dustin necessarily, but the outfitter he bought it from had to shoot these horses and stuff. But it's dark. Can't see shit, which in hindsight was perfect, right?
Yeah,
it's like teaching dudes to climb. Like, it's better to teach them at night because they can't see anything. Like, I don't know why that.
Yep.
But anyways, I'm riding right behind this female wrangler who was awesome, right? And she's trailing 2 horses. So it's her, 2 horses that she's trailing, then me. And they're like, don't turn your headlamp on because it'll scare the horse, you know. And I'm like, fuck you. Like, I'm putting a red lens on at least, right? Like, there's no way a red lens is going to scare this horse. And it didn't. So at least I could kind of sort of see what was going on. But I'm so fucking tall, I can't see. Next thing I know, Blythe, she just goes, ee! Like that. And I see both horses in front of me disappear. And I hear some clomping around. Well, Great White's right behind her. Go off like a 3 or 4 foot drop. Next thing I know, he rears up. Now, mind you, this is super quick, but he rears up, and the next thing I know, he falls, and I am pinned on the ground with this 12 or 1,400 pound horse on top of me. And luckily, by luck, I'd kind of pulled my foot out of the stirrup.
Oh my God.
Because I was trying to get the fuck off the thing.
I feel like
right?
people die in the scenario you're describing.
No, dude, here is the only thing that saved me. So I landed on a rock that was smooth at like a 30-degree angle, and that's where my leg is laying on.
Okay.
Right? So if I'd have landed like this, it would have snapped. It would have snapped my leg.
Oh, gotcha.
Whatever bone I was on. But my upper body is like dangling off this rock now. I got this fucking horse on top of me.
Scrambling, probably.
Nobody knows what happens except I just yell out, fuck me. Right? I don't know what else to say.
It's an awkward comment, but not surprising from you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So they don't, the Wrangler, they're still going. So they figure out, I turn my white light on now.
No, all the horses.
Hart and Jay are behind me. I get my foot out from underneath this horse because I'm like, if I don't get my leg out and he starts thrashing around, like
it's game over.
It's powdered. Like, I'm done. So I get out. I'm, I'm okay. I don't think I got anything too bad wrong with me. The horse is stuck. Dude, he went off into this giant like boulder pit. Ooh. And his back legs are not only pinned underneath him and against a rock, but they're crossed in the back.
Oh boy.
So I'm thinking, here comes horse number 9. And I'm thinking, I've rode this thing for 12 days. Like, I should at least be the one to shoot him, right? That seems fair. But so they take the bridle off, they cut a small tree down, they take his saddle off, and we're trying to get him out. And this big thing, he's like, they're trying to pull him. And I'm sitting there like, come on, Great White, you can do it. You can do it, And so number 1 doesn't work. So I'm like trying to undo his legs, which, they're giant. He's like a fucking moose. Can't get his legs undone. Go for number 2. Can't get out. Still stuck. Can't get his legs underneath him. And now the Wrangler, she's like, he's got like 1 or 2 more tries, and then he's done. So I'm like, come on, buddy. Come on, buddy. We're giving him a chance to rest, totally dark. I'm like, come on, bud. You can do it. And the third time, me and another guy got behind his ass, and like he pushed on his ass, I pushed on his legs, and we popped one leg out. And he got up and was able to stand. And so this is kind of a stupid part, but I'm kind of proud of myself for this, right? So the horse is fine. I'm fine as far as I can tell. And they put the saddle back on it and everything. And so I'm like, all right, I got to get back on this horse. You know, right? Everybody says you get bucked off, you got to get back on the horse, you know? And they're like, well, you kind of didn't really get bucked off. You kind of got fell on, but okay, we'll go with it. And so I walked that thing, and I was like, all right, I'm getting back on. So I got back on and rode him. It ended up being like 500 yards, right, to the trailhead. And then I drank a bottle of bourbon and a cheese plate.
Man, I work with a bunch of guys that
A nice
that are all-
charcuterie
Dude,
trade.
for 6 weeks, like the deep bruise on my leg.
Oh, yeah. You're
And-
lucky you didn't die.
Well, honestly, I've had knee problems, like probably meniscus on my left knee ever since. And I'll live with it, but I'm like, God, I was so lucky to not just get powdered out there.
Man, horse. I work with guys that are big cowboys, and I've wanted to jump into that game, but
I don't think so.
Nah.
No, thank you, man.
I mean,
They're
it
too
opens
big.
up some access. I mean, in November, you can jump on one. And,
It's cool to get the animals out, but you know,
Yeah.
just not. I don't mind horses at all, and I actually enjoyed the trip a lot. But it's not something I want to.
yeah, I respect it a lot. Yep, but I hear stories like that all the time. There's
That
so
makes-
many
That makes a decision
coming
for me.
through the
No,
hospital
thanks.
in Kalispell. Man, it's
What did Jewel say? Are we out of time?
Oh, we got a little bit more, and then we'll go cook a little bit.
Tell me about your social media strategy that you're cooking.
Yeah. So thank you, Andy, for teeing that up so eloquently.
out of the park.
So
Shifting gears.
So those who don't know me, I do have a small social presence on Instagram.
Prolific.
I believe it's at J Barklow. I've actually got two, but I don't know the password to get rid of the other one.
Strong.
If anybody can help me, but it's at J Barklow.
But you have some
I think
specific
that's the one.
rules that you have self-imposed.
Well, yeah.
As
So
you will only have one picture.
because I have friends that are famous in social media, I've been goaded or pushed into doing a few things. So I'm kind of known as a cat man because I'm like, okay, I'm going to put the first picture I ever did. I'm like, I'm going to put the picture that is going to try to freak everybody out the most that I can. So it's like this little kitty cat I've had, and I'm just holding her up like this, and it's a picture of just me and the cat. And so everybody loved that, right? And I gained a bunch of followers by doing nothing. There was no commentary, nothing. So that was number one. And then I think number two was...
Well, hold on. You deleted number one to make number
So
two.
when I started number two, which I believe Dudley sent me a Christmas sweater that said "Merry Meowie Catmas," and it had two kittens wearing Santa hats, and he's like, "Bro, like I bought that for you, like for Christmas. Like you got to do your second post." And I'm like, "God damn it!" Like, and so I didn't do it for Christmas because I'm jet lagged, right? Because I'm coming back from Asia normally in December, and so I'm drinking at like 11 o'clock in the morning, which seems about right. I've been up since 2. And I'm like, fuck it, I'm doing it. So it was just before New Year's. So I'm on my own. The first one I posted was with guys at work. Now I'm on my own. And so I'm texting guys. I'm like, okay, like, how do I do the hashtag thing? Which everybody who's done it, like, you're an idiot. But for me, it was hard. Got the picture up. And I just, I had my other cat, like here, and I had a drink, and I just said something like Happy New Year's or Season's Greetings or something.
For Dud.
But I took the first picture down. So I don't know how I did it, but I was smart enough to figure, I was like, well, maybe you could delete. Because, if you go back in somebody's social media page, like the first thing you do is go all the way to the bottom and see what a dumbass they were when they started, right? So I'm like, I don't want that.
I've never done that once, but okay.
Yeah. Well, I've had to for work when I'm looking at
sure.
certain people that want to be involved in.
You're doing your due diligence.
I'm doing my due diligence. So I'm like, I'm deleting it. So I deleted the first one, posted the second. Well, the people that liked me the first time or followed me the first time, they were like, oh my God, dude, well, you got rid of the first picture? And I'm like, yeah, there will only ever be one picture on my Instagram page at a time. So then the third one,
Which is a strong play.
It is.
so then the third one,
Right out of the gates, he's pulling power moves.
Yeah.
well, I've had a long time think about this, right? So then the third one for my 50th birthday, my friends at Yeti got me a custom ramblers for the people at the party, and it had a caricature of me and a caricature of one of my cats, and they did an awesome job.
They were amazing. I have one.
I've seen it at your house.
So I'm thanking them. I'm like, Sloan, Dennis, like, thank you so much, and they're like, I'm like, anything I could do to repay you guys, and they're like, make that your third post. God damn it, So I'm trying to figure out how to do this again. So I figured out how to delete the first one, or now the second one. And so if you go on my Instagram, it's a rambler with my face and my cat's face on there. So I'm telling you all that to tell you this, Andy, as I go into my 5th decade of life.
Yep.
And I see the prolific.
How does that feel, by the way?
And I feel the prolific nature of my friends. I'm like, I think I got some stuff to say. Maybe not super profound, but maybe something to say. And so I've like, knowing me, like I've written it out in an outline form, and I've got this idea. And so I'm thinking about jumping into the world in social media. But if they're that good, I'm like, I might have to break my only 2 rules, which is 1, there will only ever be 1 post, and 2, there has to be a cat in every picture because it freaks people out. Like, it's just,
for sure, legitimately.
And that's what I love it.
Yeah.
I mean, so I'm thinking about it. I'm going to be 51 next month, and guy goes through changes, and I'm like, maybe I got something to say. I mean, it's been really good for you. I mean, look at all the stardom it's brought you. But no, I don't.
Brought me any.
No, but see, that's the thing. So
I just do stupid shit. And
so I've got
wine reviews.
I won't tell you what it is or what I want it to be, but I'll tell you what it won't be. It won't be selfies.
Yeah.
It won't be preaching. It won't be family stuff or personal stuff, right? Like, I don't want that. But the stuff it will be, I've been thinking about it really serious. And
Are you going to engage with your followers? And what if they make comments that you don't like?
No, so that I've talked to a few people, you being the third.
Yeah.
No, it's kind of like Vince Vaughn in Old School when he has to get into the fraternity and he says, "This, I promise you, gentlemen, there will be no public service," or something like that. I don't have time nor the patience to engage in people and their commentary. Like, I just don't. So this is where I'm kind of struggling, because I'm like, I got something to say. If you like it, fine. If you don't, fine. But don't expect like a large engagement. And so I think if I establish the ground rules, I'll probably lose all the followers I have now, which is fine if that's where it ends up. And then maybe I'll gain like 3 back. But I think I've waited long enough to jump in that I've got some lessons learned of what not to do and what I'd like to do.
You certainly have enough time watching the swimming pool. You might as well jump in.
Yeah, and I've got some really good people to.
When are you going to implement this new strategy?
Well, I'd like to do it before I turn 51, so before the end of March is what I'm thinking. But don't hold me to that. But that's what I'm thinking. And so I've got it all. I've got probably here's the other thing. No daily posts. If you're lucky, I'll post once a month. Because I want to keep people coming back for more.
Yeah.
Yeah,
for sure.
But I've got some of the pictures lined out. I've got what I want to say.
Oh, you did. You did like totally draw this whole thing out, didn't you?
Oh, fuck yeah.
You're such a nerd.
Oh yeah. No, I figure I had to craft the first 6 months at a minimum.
That's funny.
And then
so
make
that's
it
6
up
posts.
after.
Yeah.
It could be. I probably have 10 or 12 posts. So maybe I got a year's worth of
Yeah.
material.
You can do 2 a month. I post on whatever schedule I want to. There's people who do like 4
Well, that's
a day.
the best thing, right?
Yeah, it's like I don't feel any obligation to put anything up.
But like everybody's got their own little thing. Like on Mondays, Jocko's going to sit there in the dark
Yeah.
and fucking scream at
With
you.
his head turned.
I know. I love it.
Yeah.
Right? So you kind of expect that. So I think you have to have something that keeps people coming back.
I was doing Friday wine reviews. I need to get back to it.
Dude, I told you earlier, I mean,
Oh, I've heard a lot about these.
there's nothing I could comment back to you on one of those wine reviews to tell you how fucking funny. Like,
And I don't
you
know
do a
shit
lot
about
of
wine.
but that's the best part. But
Yeah.
the stuff you do and the way you say it, like, it's pure Andy. There's no doubt about that. I actually think if you keep doing this, like Wine Spectator magazine or something may have you in the back for some.
Oh yeah,
comic
you're on some
relief.
radars.
Well, I want to reach out to the sommeliers from that movie Somm and get them on the podcast
It would be awesome.
to actually, like, let's do a flight of wines, and I'll fucking tell you what I think.
You just mix them together.
Like, this pairs, pour the red into the white. This pairs good with cat food.
I don't know where you came up with that idea, but I think it's brilliant.
I don't know where I did either, but I have a smoking jacket now and an ascot.
Have you had this? Have I been missing the
No, I
the
haven't
videos?
posted it yet.
Okay.
I got gators making me a monocle that I'll do with a little chain, so I'll get a clear monocle. It's going to be awesome. There's
See what
been
I'm
It's
saying?
going deep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I think it's funny because I think legitimately a few people might think I'm serious. I don't know a fucking thing about
Oh,
wine.
a bunch of my buddies hit me up, and they're like, dude, Andy's on point with this.
Dude, I just go to the grocery store. I'm like, that label looks interesting.
Yeah, you like the label.
Yeah, I have absolutely no idea. All I know
For
is
sure.
that rosé
Label.
wine tasted like shit. If you could blend human shit, bake it into a cake, it would taste like that. Not that I've done that, but I suspect that's what it would taste like.
Or bear urine.
Oh, God, it was bad. It
Oh,
was
I like your description earlier today
of what?
of what was that wine that you tried?
That rosé.
Yeah.
Yeah. Smelled like type 2 diabetes. Fucking so sweet. It was ridiculous. Yeah, I think for that one I put down the finishing notes. It was equivalent to special alone time with a handful.
Don't make me laugh.
I don't know. I just do what I
Well, it's like when you and
entertains
Trevor
me.
the other day did that thing for Black Rifle when you were reviewing all the jump footage from the movies.
I did actually watch it. We were there for like an hour. I don't know what they edited into. I'm sure it was me being a complete asshat.
It was classic.
fuck.
It was classic, Andy. I still think the wine stuff's a bit funnier.
I have like 6 or 7 pictures taken that I just need to review them. My problem is they all taste the same. Like I watch those documentaries when they're like, oh, it has hints of crushed lavender in the forest floor. I'm like, fuck you.
Yeah, I don't know anything about that.
Yeah, like it doesn't taste like that at all. It tastes
I
like
drink wine by color
Yeah.
and the label.
I learned about Malbecs when I went down to South America. That was about it.
Malbec. Is that a good one?
Yeah, it's decent. It's, I guess, drier on the flavor palette, but
You know what's funny about
I
that?
like it.
It's a liquid, so it
I
can't
like
be
it.
dry. So I don't like you if
Yeah.
you describe a liquid as dry to me. It's like,
maybe it's not. Maybe I'm wrong.
I'll be the judge of that.
But-
I'm classically trained in my sommelier.
Now I see a Malbec. I'm like, oh, yeah.
I think that's a good I've heard that it's like a wine with a large sweet spot, so it can pair well with a lot of things.
Yeah.
So
Well,
I'll get back onto 'em.
Mendoza,
I'll do 'em Fridays.
Argentina.
Oh, they're
like I said, I
hilarious.
got pictures again. My problem is I just forget to do it. It's not that I'm not drinking the wine. I just like I said, I got like 6 or 7 pictures. There's one I have that's like a really cool egg. It looks like a psychedelic egg. I'm like, oh yeah, it tasted like shit. Super. It's like throwing battery acid down the back of your throat.
I just don't know if I've ever had a red wine that I
I have
drink.
the Anarchist. No, the Arsonist is a
The
awesome red
Arsonist?
wine. Yep.
I don't know why you'd name a wine the Arsonist, but
So I picked it from the label, and there's a dude holding his hands out and there's flame in his hand. I'm like,
Oh,
this
I've
is
seen that.
obviously an excellent wine.
Yeah.
And it's my favorite bottle of red wine. Normally I'll just drink.
oh, it is good.
It is a good bottle
okay.
of wine.
I gotcha.
Legitimately a good bottle of wine. To me, honestly, though, most wines taste exactly the same. Like I try to like smell them. It's like that smells like fermented grapes. I'm not getting the notes of freshly cut tennis balls or garden hose or any of that shit.
Well, you're not a pro.
Yeah. Well, I don't know.
He's becoming a pro.
I'll get there. People are sending me bottles of wine now.
No, I think that's the best part.
I'm going to do probably
They
some
got to feed
scotches.
the machine.
I'm going to do some scotches. A guy sent me one bottle from like North Dakota or South Dakota whiskey. I was supposed to review it, but Triple S and I drank it all. We forgot to review it.
Is it bad to prime the pump with a beer and then start on your wine?
Well, one of the wine reviews is going to be of Guinness, which is the finest wine ever made. It's the best beverage ever, and then people don't like that they can just go pound sand. It's the best beverage ever.
It's your
So-
page.
It is my page. Shall we go eat, gentlemen?
Let's do it.
I think we should.
What do you guys want to close with? I'll let you guys close it out. It's your first podcast, Nelson. What do you think?
Yeah, man. It was a lot easier than I thought.
It's almost like you just sit
Good.
down and have a conversation.
Sit down and talk.
Yep.
Hunting, which is one of my favorite subjects. So
What's your Instagram? What do they call it? Username?
Grant, I think, _JP.
Yep.
Yep.
People will find you. And you're some version of Barklow. Just look for the cat.
Just look for the
One post.
Rambler with me and my cat.
Yeah, but
on
there's
it.
new add-ons.
Not yet.
So you okay? So when this changes, the rules that you're gonna break, are you gonna have multiple posts? You gonna keep pictures up there, or
Yeah, I'm still debating.
That's in the plan.
It's my
phase.
page. I can do whatever I want.
Totally.
That is.
I may
that's how
randomly take
should-
every other one down.
You should stack it with like 20, and then all of a sudden the next day there'll be nothing.
I might do that too.
Just post pictures of white screenshots. And on that note, let's go have dinner.